Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist and Hank Goldberg here from Las Vegas. Hank, good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm like a lot of other handicappers licking their chops today, or not licking their chops, so whatever the reverse of that is. Over this weekend, there were a lot of shockers out there, and a lot of things surprised me, and I'm going to try to put this weekend behind me. Although, I'll tell you one thing. On CBS yesterday morning, when I handicapped the New England game, I pointed this out on our Friday show, that Baltimore led the league in time of possession, and they would be able to keep the ball away from Brady. They only had 2 possessions in the second half, and they led in time of possession for the half.
Wow!
With those long drives of theirs, and Brady never saw the ball in the fourth quarter.
What we saw yesterday looked to me like a changing of the styles of the NFL. For years we've been searching for these great quarterbacks, and they're hard to find. And what they ran basically a modified college offense that it's brilliant the way they ran. I mean, they destroyed Seattle and they destroyed New England with this offense. I mean, they're very tough.
Well, there was a guy who had a theory that Belichick was going to watch this guy a lot and develop a plan for him in case they meet later on down the line. And people kind of sneered at that. But that's Belichick, and that they were going to let this guy do his thing, and he was going to develop a defense for him. I'll be curious to see if that works out. I said that on the show yesterday, and everybody laughed. I said, "Hey, let's see."
Well, I think you're right. I mean, they're
not.
not.
It wasn't me, by the way. I gave credit to the guy who gave out that information, who was a reporter from Boston, who I respect.
If they do meet again, they're going to have to run a different defense against them. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's
they're going to have to move guys up, not play people. Put extra guys up front to try. But I'll tell you something. They have other backs. Who Ingram is a real quality back, and he's a double threat, catching the ball and running with the ball. And he had some great runs. So the thing in the game that really what turned the game, it wouldn't have been close if Baltimore didn't turn the ball over twice, on the kicking team, and then the fumble, and really handed them 2 scores early in the game. But then all the mistakes that New England made, the offside penalties that kept drives going, that's uncharacteristic of New England.
Yeah, the Baltimore defense is pretty aggressive. I mean, I think they lead the league in blitzing. They're a very aggressive defense, and Jimmy Smith coming back really changed. I mean, as a corner, he's a great player. He makes a big difference to the defense as well, and he played.
Brady didn't have a great game, but if you paid attention to the way they've been playing offensively, Brady actually made a few plays against their defense, but they put pressure on him. I also said on my pick that Brady will have at least 1 turnover in the game, which he did. They had an interception against him. But he threw the ball pretty decently. But they don't have. But he had 2 guys he was throwing the ball to the whole game. Edelman was one,
and Sanu
was the other.
Yeah,
they caught between them over 20 passes.
Yeah,
and that's their passing game. They don't have a great running game.
No, they've been damaged a little bit by players leaving and getting hurt and stuff, and they're not the same team. They've been depending on their defense a lot, and it didn't work yesterday. It's the defense.
They're going to lose more games.
We had surprising play yesterday. I mean, Jacksonville looked terrible. Washington, Washington, you expect to look terrible. Carolina bounced back quite a bit off of their loss the other day, and I don't know what the hell to say about
Jacksonville's defense was bad, but their quarterback stunk.
Yeah,
and he was
terrible.
Gonna be toast.
He was terrible.
He gets worse and worse every week.
Wow. Hank, what the hell does Chicago do about their offense? They were negative yardage in the first half.
They have to get a quarterback. Is a real simple answer. And their quarterback has their offense has put pressure on their defense.
Yeah,
their defense has no chance of carrying them to wins when their quarterback is a minus yardage guy.
It's amazing.
And they're going to have to make a deal to get a quality quarterback, and a quality quarterback will want to go there because their defense is so good.
Minnesota, Kansas City was a great game.
I won that game. I had that winner. I didn't use it in the contest, but when the game went to 5, I jumped in with both hands.
Yeah, it was. It went up to 5.5. You could, that was too much. Kansas City's a good team with a lot of talent, and Matt Moore is not a terrible quarterback. He's a very good.
No, he did a good job.
He did a great job.
But Minnesota's defense didn't play all that well, and Minnesota's got all those quick guys. They've got speed. Kansas City. And I'll tell you, Spagnuolo is doing a great job with their defense right now.
Yeah, they're
and I think they could beat the Patriots.
Should we give a trophy to Miami? They finally won a game.
Look who they beat. My man Gase.
Oh my God. There was a little bit of stuff on Twitter yesterday that Gase was said if he loses the game, he's going to get fired. You think that's true?
I said that. Maybe they were listening to our show.
Indianapolis, interesting situation there. Brissett got hurt.
Yeah.
The backup guy, what the hell's his name? He did a pretty good job.
Hoyer.
They never. Why don't these teams prepare their backups a little bit more? He
was prepared. He's okay, Hoyer.
No, but I'm not criticizing
him. By the way, you know why they lost? The guy missed a field goal.
I understand, but my point is this. Today the coach comes out and says Hoyer never gets any practice with the ones, and so he was playing with players he's never played with, and he was kind of just winging it and did a great job winging it. My point is, why don't they give these guys some practice with the ones so in case that happens, they're a little more prepared?
They got to prepare. In their case, they had to prepare the guy who had a bad game last week. But Hoyer is they spent a lot of money to bring Hoyer in.
He's a good quarterback.
And he's a good player. And he had a decent game. It wasn't his fault that he didn't win. Pittsburgh's a good defense right now. And Pittsburgh's quarterback, as I've been talking him up, had a decent game against a very good defense. But they could have won that game if the guy makes a field goal. And there's a quarterback who tried to win the game with his kicker who can't kick anymore. So there's a case of the coach throwing somebody else under the bus. I'm sorry. He does that all the time. It's never his fault.
Well, Oakland is playing a lot better than anybody gave him credit for in the beginning of the year. They beat Detroit. They did cover the spread.
There was another game that Detroit in the red zone, and they had a great opportunity on the on a 2.5 yard line when Gruden called the timeout for some reason, and they called a horrible play, and they could have tied the game. It was a back and forth offensive game that it figured to be, and Detroit, the quarterback was hot, but at the end of the game, they get down there against the Raiders' lousy pass defense, and they get to the 1 foot line, and instead of calling a play where that might have worked, they try to run up the middle, which they couldn't do all day, and they get stuffed. What are these coaches thinking about?
Hey, I
Detroit
think
should be doing better.
I think about a third of the coaches in the league are really just bad, and maybe about 5% are absolutely horrible. They shouldn't even be in college. What do you say about Cleveland? I mean, this team, they ran up a guy that never played, ran into a quarterback yesterday that never played a down in the NFL regular season, and they get beat.
Yep. Well, there's a coach that just isn't ready. And you know what? All these people who were saying, oh, Cleveland, they could run off 9 wins now. This was before that game. And they could win, and they got a chance to win. They got no chance right now. And this week, they're hosting Buffalo. And they could lose that game too. And I'll tell you, they're not going to beat Pittsburgh twice. They're just not. Pittsburgh's going to beat them twice.
You're probably right. Green Bay fell asleep. They go to the West Coast, play the Chargers. I mean, I don't know what the hell happened. I don't even know how to explain that effort by.
Well, they're explaining it that they got in late Saturday night, and the guys didn't get any sleep. But that's just an excuse. I'll tell you what happened. They ran into Ingram and Bosa, and the Chargers did something smart on defense. They put both of those guys on the same side, and Green Bay couldn't handle it. And they were in Rodgers' face the whole game. He didn't have a second to breathe. When they weren't sacking him, they were hitting him. And even with their best receiver coming back, he couldn't do anything. And, this was a typical Chargers game offensively. They couldn't score. They held them to 4 field goals in the first half. It was only 12-0. And they still couldn't do anything with them.
I know. We have there's a couple real important games coming up next week. We got a game tonight, of course. We got Dallas at the Giants. That's a division game. And I'm sure you know this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Every home team won yesterday.
Yep. Yes, that's it, except for one.
Which one?
I'm trying to remember. It was one. I think one team though.
You're not talking about Jacksonville. They actually played neutral field.
No.
Every home underdog covered.
Yeah, I think so.
It's
I remember who won yesterday on the road. Philadelphia won. Yeah, that was home.
They were, every home team, but I think every home team won. I think it was 12-0. We got 6.
Carolina. Was Tennessee home yesterday?
No. They were Carolina. Yeah.
Chargers won. Seattle didn't cover.
Oh, that was... Seattle did cover. They covered in overtime.
It was 6. The line was 6.
Yeah, but it didn't... It was 6.5 open, but it went all the way down to 4 at the end.
Oh. Well, Tampa Bay could have won that game. The guy missed the field goal at the end.
They had a 21-7 lead at one point. Tampa up 21-7.
That's Tampa Bay. Yeah, I guess you're right. Every home team won.
Pretty amazing. This week, we got a major game coming up in the NFL. We got Seattle playing at San Francisco.
Yep.
I mean, we know that, the 8-0 team, they're home. They're -6. They're actually -6.5 right now. Most places. Actually, it's a little bit around. It's a little bit out there. 6.5, 6. We know San Francisco has a lot of weapons. They're a lot of talent. Great coach. But boy, I tell you, Russell Wilson is absolutely amazing. What he does.
He is. But you know something? He's got 24 touchdown passes and only 1 interception, and he's carrying that team on his back. But they're not a good team, and they still haven't. They've lost their home field advantage. They could have lost that game very easily if the guy doesn't miss a chip shot field goal at the end for Tampa Bay. And I don't think they're a match for San Francisco. San Francisco's defense is really good, and San Francisco's going to score on them. San Francisco's offense will light them up.
Well, I think it's going to be a very tough game, physical game. I don't know. I'm not going to give up on them. I know San Francisco's better, but that seems like too big a number for me. If they made the game 3.5 or 4 maybe, but not 6.5. I can't. That's a big price.
San Francisco just keeps beating everybody.
Well, they almost got their butt whipped the other night down in Arizona. Murray played pretty well. Murray's like a mini Lamar Jackson. He throws the ball better, moves well. Interesting. The transition in the NFL is really something. And Green Bay is going to try to bounce back off of that terrible effort, and they're going to have to host Carolina. And McCaffrey had 146 yards yesterday. I mean, this kid's playing unbelievable.
Well, they just kept giving him the ball. They took the ball out of the quarterback's hands this week and just kept handing the ball to McCaffrey. And that's how they won that game. I watched that game, and it was McCaffrey right, McCaffrey left, McCaffrey up the middle. and Tennessee had no answer for it. And Tennessee actually came back a little bit in the game. But Tannehill had a Tannehill game that I'm used to watching.
Yeah, you're right.
Where he had no awareness of where the rush was coming from, and he was wild with his passes. And he does that from time to time.
Yes, he does.
You can't depend on Tannehill.
This coming week, got a lot of college games, of course, important games. The Thursday night.
Oh, yeah, LSU, Alabama.
Big games. Big, very important games. Should be interesting. A lot of money-making opportunities. The Thursday night NFL game is interesting. Oakland at home. They opened 2. We're seeing 1 on either side of it now. So the Chargers and Oakland are kind of like pick 'em in that game because you can get 1 either way. 48.5 down to 47.5 in that game. That's going to be Thursday night in Oakland. It's going to be a great week. The NBA. How about the Lakers? They are on fire. 5 in a row. They're playing defense. They're looking real good. They play some defense now. Looks like LeBron is committed to defensive play now. He's getting a little older. Let somebody else carry the game. They look pretty good, and so do the Clippers. Very strong. Anything else you want to cover, Hank?
No, I think that's it. The Breeders' Cup was, the one fatality is getting a lot of attention, and I feel badly for the Santa Anita people because they took every precaution, and this was a case where the horse took a bad step in a race, and that happens. That's part of the game, and it wasn't their fault. But Mike Smith, who's a veteran jockey, did not have a good day. Midnight Bijou, who was an unbeaten horse this year, I think he's won 7 of his last 7 races. But you had to be close to the pace on that racetrack. That's the way it had been played for 2 days, and for some reason he had this horse far back early, made his move far too late. He made a very strong move, but he couldn't catch the winner, and it cost me to pick 5. I ran first and third in the Classic. The horse I liked with the winner ran third because he was closing at 50 to 1 shot, ran second in the race.
Wow!
Because he had speed and he didn't quit, and so I didn't have the exacta, but the horse who won was owned by a good friend of mine, and I was happy for him. But Smith had a real bad day, and nobody on the NBC telecast criticized him. I was surprised at that.
Well, Mike Smith's like a legend. They probably...
You know what? They criticized Brady.
They do. Yeah, they do. I don't know. I don't follow horse racing that much, but yeah, I noticed that they did not criticize him. But Hank, good luck this week. The people in the contest.
Yeah, we got to bounce back. You gave me good news on the contest because I thought I was going to be out of it because I only had one winner and I had to push in the Seattle game because I had the other side. So, and it was 6 in the contest.
Yeah, the two contests, the Westgate, the Circa.
By the way, I bet that game on Saturday and took 6 points.
Oh, hey, I bet it. I took 6.5, but the line crashed because everybody, all the sharps, just everybody was taking Tampa, and they should have won. I mean, because if the guy Myers doesn't have a terrible day kicking field goals, he would have hit the last one. They'd have won in regulation by 3, and but just that happens. Vinatieri, of course, he missed one yesterday, and that cost Indianapolis the win. But happened.
It gave me a win because I had Pittsburgh with the points. I didn't have a killer day betting yesterday, but I had a losing day. But I did well on a couple of totals. So, and I had Pittsburgh, and I had Kansas City, so it saved me a little bit.
The reality of this game is it's over. If you're a 60% handicapper over a long period of time, you've done pretty damn good. It's hard to.
Oh, for sure.
It's hard to. It's hard to
Collins
maintain.
Blazing 5 went 1-4 again this week.
I think that's 3 weeks in a row he's lost like that. Yeah, he's
1-4 2 of the last 3 weeks.
Wow. Well, it was. Let me tell you what.
Somebody put his fire out.
The Westgate, which is the big contest, and then you have the Circa, which is a new contest. The top picks in those two contests, there are 10 plays. They went 0, 9, and 1.
Wow. So 31 is still leading the contest.
Well, I don't know about the leaders. I'm just taking the overall. I didn't see those numbers. But,
well, the leaders were 31.
Yeah, but
so if they went 0, they're still at 31.
No, I was talking about the overall 3,000 people, what their top picks were. I don't know the individual leaders, but I think I heard that 32.5 is leading.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, have a good.
I'm at 25.5.
Well, you're right
so
there.
I didn't lose any ground.
You didn't lose any ground, and you've got plenty of weeks to make it up.
Yep.
All right, Hank. We'll talk to you again on Wednesday.
All right, Jen.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.